In Kiev, this is Ukraine Today. I'm Rahim Rahimtula, and in today's press review, we'll look at international coverage of the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. We begin with an article in The Atlantic from Matt Schienvenzer. He writes that in the quarter century since the wall fell, quote, millions of Europeans have emerged from poverty and gained freedoms unimaginable under communist rule. But he goes on to say that the rise in popularity of ultra-nationalist parties across the continent and growing concerns over economic stagnation show that the idealism triggered by the end of the Cold War has faded. He says declining optimism has been further stoked by Russian President Vladimir Putin's attempts to extend his country's borders. The theme of Vladimir Putin is continued in our second article, which comes from Masha Gessen, writing in the Daily Beast. She details the experience of the fall of the Berlin Wall from the point of view of the Russian leader, who was stationed in East Berlin at the time as a KGB spy. Gessen writes of Putin's radicalization. She says that the collapse of East Germany meant, quote, everything Putin had worked for was now in doubt. Everything he had believed was being mocked. Gessen quotes the Russian leader himself, who told biographers, quote, I realized that the Soviet Union was ill. It was a fatal illness called paralysis, a paralysis of power. Gessen believes Putin felt betrayed by his country. Finally, we look at coverage of the anniversary from The Washington Post. Anthony Faiola and Stephanie Kirchner write that the fall of the Berlin Wall heralded not only the last days of communism in Eastern Europe, but also the emergence of a reunified and reinvigorated Germany. But they say that the joy of the weekend's celebrations was tempered by foreboding about the future. They quote former Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev, who referenced Russia's intervention in Ukraine when he said that the world is on the brink of a new Cold War. And on that somewhat pessimistic note, we end our press review. In Kiev, this is Ukraine Today.